Nope. Are we live? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hello. Well, I mean, no one sees us yet, but if you do see us, say hey. Please say hey. Happy Tuesday from a snowy, very snowy Nashville. It's funny, Ben. When you're an adult, you can attest to this. When you're an adult, snow days are a little different. I don't want to go out in the snow, to be totally frank with you, at all. It is freezing. Ben and I were trying to get ready for the call. I had to run outside to try to water the horses. Everything's frozen. The buckets are frozen in the horse troughs, and the hose was frozen. And so literally, it was a disaster. So,
I'm still trying to
but anyways,
you accuse me of being an adult. Like you called me, you grouped me in that category. I'm excited. I agree. I hate snow days. It's cold in Dallas, and I can't stand going outside.
Well, especially you because you love golfing. But snow days, like it's nice right now. I'm working. I can see the 6 inches of snow we got out here. It's very peaceful.
Yeah.
But when you're not working, and you have a kid, and also too, full transparency, we're all sick in the Destin households. That's not fun. And so then my daughter wants to go outside and play in the snow, but she's got a terrible congestion, so it's just a disaster. So snow days are a lot more complicated.
Yeah, they are. They're more complicated when you're a parent.
Yeah, totally. A lot more complicated.
Yes, totally.
But good morning, y'all. We are seeing people tuning in. Tay, it's good to see you. Abraham, Valerie, it's great to see you. Yeah, me neither. It's too cold. Andre, it's good to see you. Jay, it's good to see you.
Jay. Hey, good morning, everyone.
TikTok, Eugene, what's going on? It's great to see y'all today. TikTok, great to see y'all. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm still going to call it Twitter. Yeah, snow days hit different as an adult. I still get excited. I do still get excited.
You get excited?
I grew up in South Carolina. Yeah, I grew up in South. I love snow. I love snow.
I dread it.
I don't like the effects of the snow. Does that make sense?
Sure.
It's pretty. It's pretty to look at.
It's peaceful while it's falling, but I wish it would get vacuumed up right after it lands.
Yeah. Fall a ton and just go whoop back up. I wish I could move my camera over so y'all can see it. Because it's really, really pretty right now. But good morning, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Very excited to hang out with my guy Ben Pyle this morning. We're going to talk about some life stuff today, and I'm excited. I always like talking about life stuff. Ben texted me. I never do any what's going on? We got he's the Rust and Lambda guy.
Oh man. Hey buddy, good to see you.
You're starting to be known as a guy now. You've officially made it. Rakesh, it's good to see you.
Hey, there's Rakesh. Good morning.
Well, we're starting to get more snow. Nice, awesome. Valerie, where do you live? Do you live on Ski Slope? But excited to talk about life stuff. So I never, like I said, I never come up with questions, and I never do set questions, and I always text the person. So Ben texted me yesterday. I was like, "Hey, what are we talking about?" And I was like, "I don't know. What do we want to talk about?" So we're gonna talk about life stuff today, which I think is really important. But again, say hey. Would love to hear from you. Again, this is a networking platform. My goal is for you to network off the back of me. That's really it. I want to create kind of this virtual meetup where people can DM. And actually, so for those of you. For those of you who said, I keep saying that there's a CTO who hired somebody on my show.
I did.
It's this guy.
I did. I hired him off the show.
So Ben, today. This is full reference here. This is a reference for me, a testimonial. Talk about this community and talk about what you see as a manager, because I want to encourage other people to comment and engage.
Yeah. So for me, I hire almost specifically on attitude and aptitude. Those are my two things. Are you a good human? Manager. Can you work in a team? Do you have good aptitude and do you have good attitude? And so I won't mention him by name unless he joins and says I can. But he hit me up, I don't know, 2 days after we did one of these. It wasn't this, but it was another show you and I did. And he hit me up. And I always offer I offer anyone wants to hit me up on Twitter, LinkedIn. I will give you as much time as I can to help you out, because it is hard navigating the tech job market and tech life in general. He hit me up. We spent an hour going through his homemade, serverless Legend of Zelda, finding farming and weapons and region. My kids would have loved it. We did. We spent an hour, and I asked him at the end of the session, I said, how do you not have a job? He was demonstrating these skills that I'm there is so much detail, thought, care. Anyway, come to find out, a month and a half, 2 months later, we had an opening, and the very first thing I did was I reached out to him. I said, hey, would you like to talk to my engineering manager? And because he was willing just to say, hey, I just want to reach out. And that to me, like, I didn't even interview him when he came formally through. I was like, I already spent an hour with him on a tech project.
Yeah.
I already know what he can do.
So,
yeah, don't worry about it. So no, like I would encourage anybody that's on here, anybody with hiring authority that you see them, if they don't respond to you through DMs, it's their loss, not yours. Right.
Well, try again. Right. I mean, I tell people, like, I don't know about you, but like, you got to pretty much DM me like 3 or 4 times and I don't mean that to be mean, but like,
yeah, it depends. Like, it really does. Like, some people are really good naturally at staying on top of their inbox. Right. Cause you've got, like, I mean, I got LinkedIn, I got Twitter, I got Instagram, all these inboxes. Other people, not so much. Right. So yeah, it depends. So I agree with you. Don't be maybe as crass as it's their loss, but at some level, yeah, if you've tried and you've reached out and you've genuinely come with like I just want to learn more, I think I can help you, then I think most people are going to be solid about getting back with you.
I love that. I love that. Ben, you want to give a quick intro about yourself real quick? Oh, real quick. I want to give a shout out to my brands. I got to do partners real quick. That conference, I'm going there in 2 weeks in Austin.
You're coming down.
Very excited. Yeah. Speaking.
Yeah.
So very excited to be down there. They are the official coffee sponsor, but I'm currently on a cleanse. I'm down 10 pounds though, Ben. Down 10
Are you down 10 pounds?
I'm down 10 pounds.
That's awesome. 8 days. 10 pounds in 8 days.
Yeah. Yeah. My body's very happy.
Spinnaker is solid.
I'm not drinking.
Spindrift. Those are good.
I'm drinking Spindrift right now. Spindrift isn't a sponsor of the show. That'll be lit though. But that conference, they do have coffee beans. Check it out. But I'll be down there in 2 weeks. If you are in the Texas area and you can drive, highly recommend. It's going to be a good crew there. Also for the premier sponsor, Render ATL. Listen, Render ATL is a mix of like South by Southwest, Coachella. It's in Atlanta, June 12th through 14th this year. This is my opinion. The reason why I am sponsored by that conference and Render, if there are 2 conferences that I would literally try to go to and like in your year, it's that conference and Render, just to be totally frank with you. So, so again, check out Render. It's great. I don't know if we create a code. I got to talk to Justin for Render. GC 2.0, I think gets you a few bucks off your ticket for Render. If that does not work, let me know, and I'll get that fixed. So, anyways, all that being said, Ben, over to you, man. Yeah. Give a quick background about yourself real fast.
Yeah, apparently I'm the Rust and Lambda guy. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm a techie guy. So I've been doing tech for 25 years. I remember mainframe. I remember client server. I've been through all the journeys. I'm now really a big AWS cloud guy. Currently a CTO at a healthcare startup. Lucky enough to work with about 40, 45 really talented individuals, QA, tech, data engineers, the whole 9 yards. And so my passions are around the intersection of people and technology. I just think that technology is really much more of a people business than techie people think it is. And so anything I can do, I love to write. I wanted to be a writer when I was a kid. I wanted to write fantasy fiction. It's funny. I got a bunch of stories in my attic. So now I don't write fantasy fiction. I just write content around AWS and serverless.
There you go.
Okay. Cool stuff. So
it's funny how that means so.
Kind of the same thing. I love it. So like people are like, how do you write so much? And I'm like, it's fun. And it's kind of what we'll talk about today, I think, is like find what you're passionate about and it's easy to do the work.
Yeah, absolutely. So our title today is people and values. Again, Ben kind of came with 2 really good areas. And so Ben, where do you want to start it out at? People or the values part?
I don't know. Like I kind of go with, I look inward first. I'm always an inward person. If something's wrong, I'm always looking at me first. I know not everybody does that, but when I looked and kind of went through this and just full transparency, I got some help this fall. I hired some executive coaching to help me out through this journey. And so defining.
Did it work? Because I think a lot of people are like, ooh, executive coaching, it can be lame, yada, yada, yada.
Take away the executive part, because I don't think it's just for, I don't look at it as me being an executive. The act of coaching I thought was really worthwhile. Now, what I would tell you is find the coach you jam with. The coach that I ended up finding, like super serendipitously, we just jammed, and it was kind of in the evaluation of, does this person have the same values and the same thought process? Can they challenge me to be better? It is a very introspective process, but if you put in the homework, you'll have some radical change. I know I did, and I'd advocate for you to try it if you're interested.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, when I was at my last company, we hired, I was a part of the leadership team in our office, and we were given, which was really cool, like 4 sessions with an executive coach. And I absolutely loved mine. Love mine. It was great. I highly recommend. So, one of the things we talked about backstage, Ben, was, values, and you and I kind of got in this conversation right when we were about to go live. And I say, let's just continue the conversation about, you kind of get to the point of your life. And I've talked about this where like, there's only so many titles you can chase.
Yeah.
there's kind of only so much money you can chase. Obviously big tech money is not the norm. So, but you and I kind of were chatting about, like we get to a point where it's like the money's got to be there, but it's not everything anymore.
No, there's a really interesting book written by Dan Pink. It's called Drive, and it talks about what motivates knowledge workers. And it's a really, really interesting psychology study. If anyone wants to go read it, it's been out for years. It's a really good book. I'm not like a big book pusher, so don't think that I'm going to throw like 30 more books. When I read this when I was younger, it really just codified for me that I wasn't crazy because I really believe that people operate from these intrinsic places. And when you find the way that you want to work and the way that you see the world, and it lines up with the work you do and who you work with, like everything just kind of fits like a puzzle piece. If you're jumping from job to job to job and aren't chasing dollars, you've probably got an incongruence of who you are and what you're wanting to do. And I think when you find those things, and I'm not necessarily even talking about like company, right? It's really the work you do that you find meaningful. If you really find meaning in being a quality engineer that goes to the nth degree on making sure that people like me do our job, like you will be a fantastic quality engineer. And if it lines up with your desire to be pragmatic, or whether it's to be honest, or whether it's whatever it is, you'll find a lot more meaning and happiness in what you're doing, versus if you're that type of person, you're trying to be a creative designer where somebody's always being like loose and it's brain, it just won't match. And I feel like if you do that work, and a coach can help, because the way I told my coach was, I told her, she said, "Why are you hiring me?" And I said, if I had all the answers and I knew how to do it, I'd already be there. And like, you kind of first have to have this moment where it's like, I don't have the answers, and I feel like there's something more.
Well, and I want to I want to chime in too, because I hired this nutritionist who I absolutely love, and she is remote. So if you are looking, she's like $225 a month. She's fantastic. And she asked me, she goes, why are you doing this? She goes, why are you doing this?
What's your why?
She goes, because my husband is my worst client. She goes, my husband tried to do the cleanse that you're on, could only last 4 days, and said, fuck it. Right. and she was like, but why are you doing it? I said, she goes, are you doing it because Jackie made you do it? I go, no. I go, I'm doing this because I need to do it, because one of my challenges in 2024 was spiritual, emotional, and mental health first. And so, and I've been able to stick to it much better this time, because it's about me. And I think for those of you who are going through life and maybe are doing this for other people, or doing things for other people, or you want to go into tech because your parents were in tech and you feel like you need to go in tech, but your passion is, maybe, something else. I want to encourage you that you really need to chase down the things you really want to do, because I will tell you this, resentment is a hell of a drug. And that we're built. And so again, finding your why. Again, Simon Sinek wrote a book about it. Like, I get it. But like, it just comes back to values, like what really drives you. And Ben and I were chatting, like, if you want the cars and the boats and the trips to Ibiza, yeah, that sounds great. You can do that. But like for me, like what I've realized, like that's not me, right? I want to be on the farm. For the most part, I hate people. It's the ongoing joke, right? I just want to be on the farm and hang out and have a really good, deep community. But I've only realized that really over the last year or two.
Well, and we were talking before, like I think there's this period of time when you're like 35 to 50, and sometimes it's attached to kids, sometimes it's not. When you've built up enough book of life to be able to look backwards and go, man, I tried all these things, but that didn't quite get me where I wanted to get to. Well, how do I do that? I think first going, where do I want to get to? Like, what does it feel like when I'm having my best day? Right? What are those things? What are those emotions? How does that touch me? And then kind of working backwards from what kind of roles will I be happy in? Because I promise you don't have to make $500,000 to be happy in life. Like, I mean, there's countless examples of where that's not out there, to where you can have a totally fulfilling and happy life. And I would argue that, my dad passed a year ago, like almost to the day. And, his life was fulfilled because he loved what he did. He was a geologist.
Oh, Ben, did I lose you? Ben, did I lose you? Ben, come back. Can people see Ben? Hello, hello. Ben, I'm gonna kick you out here. I'm gonna kick from studio. Well, since Ben's internet froze, can y'all still hear me? Please comment if y'all can still hear me. He's just taking a nap. Yeah. Ben just fell asleep. Alex says deep community makes everything better. Absolutely. Yeah, but he confirms we see Ben. Okay, all right. I kicked him out. Come back, Ben. Ben, come back. I just texted Ben. To come back. Yeah, I know. Everything froze on my end. Bueller, yes, no, yes. Okay. Well, as we're talking about, and I'll keep rapping on this because he was on a roll. I know he was on a roll. Refresh my page. I can hear you. All right. Hopefully Ben can come back in. But we were talking about essentially that Ben and I kind of got on this conversation because we realized that at the end of the day, you can only go so far with the things that you want at the and putting family and community and friends in the forefront can really, really make things go a lot further, and you'll be much more content, right? So, all right, here he is. All right,
all right. So let's see how this works. Because I've got a full gig up and down, and haven't lost internet connection in the 13 years I've owned this house, maybe once. And now I'm tethered to this like archaic iPhone 9. So let's see how this goes.
Okay. Did your internet go out?
It just did, legitimately. Like it's out. It has not gone out in like 14, 15 years, like once or twice.
That's crazy.
Down, so.
That's crazy.
Yeah, anyway, so where did I lose you? Where did I drop off?
We were basically saying just you were talking about your dad dying.
Yeah.
Almost to this day.
Yeah.
A year ago.
No, I mean, the thing for me, I watched him, and again, he knew who he was, and he knew it fulfilled. I mean, he wanted to be a geologist. He was a geologist for 60 years. And, he loved his family. He loved his church. He loved his neighbors. He was satisfied, right? Like there was fulfillment in what he did. And it's kind of like the older we get, we kind of want to look back and go, man, I want that. I personally, I want that, right? I want to get to the end and go, man, I feel like I used my time well, because the older you get, the older your children get, the more you realize, man, time's it, right? Time is your coin.
And it's interesting that you said that, because that's kind of my theme of my vlog today is finding joy in the inconvenience. Because what I've realized is that for me, this is just some honesty here on a Tuesday morning for you. I love what I do, right? My goal is for every single developer in the States to know who I am. That's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen next year. Right. And so my thing is that like, I love the process so much that I want the process to eventually come to an end very soon. So I'm always looking to the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the month. And what I've realized is that really the last year or so of my life has kind of gone by pretty quickly. And I get grumpy. Like I kind of complained to my wife with this cleanse. I was like, 'cause you have to drink so much water. I was like, I'm tired of drinking all this water because it takes time for my hands being on the keys. Yeah. And that's when my wife kind of looked at me and she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, that sounds kind of ridiculous when I say it out loud. And so like just enjoying every moment as much as you feasibly can. And that's something I'm working on counseling too, because I think a lot of us are just like, I want that senior developer title or that staff developer title or that CTO title.
Yeah. Which, I always ask why. And I've written about this a bunch, the why do you want that? If you want influence, if you want to be making your own decisions, if you want autonomy, if you want the ability to get better and grow, you don't need the title to do those things. Now, if you want to chase dollars, right? Like absolutely, there's arguments to be made. Principal
and there's
versus
nothing wrong with chasing dollars.
There's nothing. 100% wrong. No. 100% nothing. No, absolutely. But if you don't break down why you want that thing, another really interesting thing. My dad would always say, if you don't enjoy the process or the journey, you're not going to enjoy the destination, because you're going to spend more time working to get where you want to get than the time that you actually spend that you get there. And when you get there, if you didn't enjoy all it took to get to that thing because it was on purpose, then you're going to be empty, right? And so if you understand why, and so when we go back to values, I always thought it was hokey. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm a, like, one of my one of my values is authenticity. Like, I'm telling you straight up, I thought it was hokey. Like, I only have one version of Ben. Like, it's the same with my kids outside my window right now. My wife, she'll tell you, like, he's this all the time. And Rakesh and Logan are here too. They could tell you. But like, I thought the values were hokey. And when I got older and I did them, and I was like, they're not hokey, they're powerful. And why? So if you think about your values is like your thing that you hold up decisions, relationships, interactions up against. Like, I mean, I list mine off: selflessness, authenticity, creativity, empathy, pragmatism. Most everybody that knows me would know those resonate. If I'm in a situation where I'm being asked to be selfish, I'm probably going to feel a little icky about it. Or if I'm in a position where I've got to not be who I am, I'm going to feel icky about it. When you start to feel icky about things, you start to have these incongruences, and these incongruences drive you to make decisions that ultimately I don't think you're going to be happy about because they don't match your why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's really pretty deep for a Tuesday, but like, if you followed me through the fall, this is the work that I put in with this coach who, I mean, I'm happy to share her out. She's fantastic, but like, it's been eye-opening for me. And it's something that I would have encouraged my 25-year-old self. Like, it'd have been I'm not going to take no for an answer. You're going to go do this because this will make your life better if you understand this now versus, with 20 years under your belt.
Yeah, absolutely. Joyce comes in here, goes, I'm in this situation right now, Taylor, finding joy in the inconvenience of learning a new skill. Yeah. Again, right. So like, Joyce, I tell you, like, it sucks to learn a new skill, right? Like, it sucks. And for me, it's like, but find joy in the fact that you have the ability to learn a new skill.
Yep.
Because that's just huge.
I've been open. Like, I've been learning Rust for 6 months. I feel like an idiot some days. Like, everybody's like, "Yeah, the Rust and Lambda guy," and I'm happy that I'm sure, because I love the language.
It is funny. That is,
and
funny.
I believe in these things. But if you knew how hard I worked, like, for goodness sake, the first thing I can grab from my right hand, the Rust programming language, like, it sits right next to my keyboard. It's been a challenge, and I feel like a moron some days, but like, I love it, and I know why I'm trying to do it, so I don't mind I don't mind feeling like I'm, never going to get there.
Yeah. So, as a freelance dev, I found out that I love serving people. I get a natural high seeing my clients' face in tears of joy when I've captured their call to action.
Yeah.
Great why, right?
That's your why.
I love that.
Makes work not so much work when you're doing that. There's
Rust is fun. There's been a lot of Rust and Go chat just in general on the interwebs lately, so I love it.
I'm trying to push the narrative. I think it's worth your time as a developer to learn those skills.
I love it. Yeah, just based off what I'm seeing too, I think so as well. So let's talk about talk about values. Let's talk about people. Kind of switching our hats a little bit, going to kind of more of a leadership cap. And I can't believe like we're already running out of time. So let's touch on briefly, man. I mean, getting people where they want to go. I think the saying is like the best leaders can basically, discover people's abilities and take them where they never thought they'd be able to go. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So leadership's a skill, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people talk about this, and I'm by no means a leadership expert. Like, I've not written any books. I've not given tons of talks on it. I can just tell you from experience. Like, it's a skill. It's something you've got to practice. The trick that I use, this is my leadership hack. Like, I'm going to give you my secret because I don't believe secrets should be secrets. Learn people. Like, the trick is know who you work with and know who's working for you and know who you're responsible for. I'm not saying you need to know that Susie has to take Jimmy to class at 2:00 every Thursday and Billy has to do this. I'm not saying get into everybody's personal details. Obviously, the more intimate you get with people, the more you're going to get to know them. But start to learn your people and learn the people that are around you. What do they like to do? Where do their eyes light up? What projects make their eyes light up? What assignments make them come back and ask more questions? When somebody doesn't ask me follow-up questions, they either already know it, so they're not growing, or they hate it and they just don't want to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
So find those things that make people's eyes light up. And when you find those things, what I try to personally do is I try to put people in positions to where they naturally already want to go there. So if you take your why, your values, this is the hard part about being a leader, which is why being a leader, if you just want to be CTO, get ready for dealing with a lot of like exponential challenges, because it gets more complicated, because you need to learn the why for all your people that are directly attached to you. And so once you learn their why and what they delight in, you put them in positions where you can follow the yeses, is the way I like to call it. And following the yeses basically means, if I want to go from Dallas to Nashville, but my wife would love to make a stop in Vicksburg, right, which is down I-20, kind of not on the way, but sort of. I'd rather go through Little Rock. You know, but I really want to go to Nashville. Guess what? We're going to Vicksburg, because she will go to Vicksburg and then I can get her to Nashville. My end goal is Nashville. I don't need Little Rock. I can go to Vicksburg. So when you learn what people really want and where they want to get to, you follow their yeses. And it's kind of one of those things where the reason it makes leadership hard is if you've got, this is why I don't like to have more than 5-6 direct reports. Because if you've got to be this intimate with 15 people, it's extremely difficult. And that's the only way, in my opinion, that I've been successful at it.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Gun.io with this, especially Tasia. I mean, like, my role has already shifted a ton, even being there in 7 months, because Tasia is like, yo, you need to just go and do what you do.
Yeah.
And he's basically pulled me out. I don't report to anybody, but I report to everybody. Don't you love that?
Yeah.
So and because Tasia did that, because he's like, listen, you're just such an impact guy. He was like, he was like, you just do what you gotta do. And he goes like, well, you just talk to all the leadership team, you know, in terms of impact, drive revenue. And he was like, you just kind of just keep doing what you're doing. And so props to Tasia for just seeing that. And for me, it makes me so much more motivated.
It does, doesn't it?
Right. Like, it makes me like, I would go to war with Tasia. I would go to war with Gun.io, because they're letting me do what I actually want to do. And then I'm driving revenue back to the business because of that.
Well, I'll give a quick example. There's a guy on this call, another one I'll call out. He has a passion in architecture around saving the organization money. He loves tracking finances of how much we spend in the cloud. He does. He's really good at it. He's fantastic at it. And like, open that world up to him. We saved 25% last year in our cloud bill by one guy working with 2 other people. Yeah. And his inertia got them moving, and 25% of cloud bill, all because he expressed to me, and me as a leader just said, I'm going to take you from here, and now you're going to go over here. Right. Like, when you do that, it's unlocking.
Do you try to do that though? Like, when you sit with your folks, do you like, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you love to do?
I don't ask it that way.
Right. But like, you try to play like,
I try to put like I've got people that are really, really detailed engineers who like to work on, like to be very in control of what they do. And data projects are great for them. I've got other engineers that are less detail oriented, but highly creative, right? Awesome in like strategic tech roles, architecture roles, art of the possible type stuff, right? Then you got people that are like, they'll punch a rivet in an airplane, and every rivet will be perfectly lined up from here to end. Awesome at QA, awesome at code reviews. You know what I mean? And when you learn, absolutely do. You're putting your best players in the best position to succeed, which is why I constantly say software is a team sport, because it is.
That's one thing that I miss about like having direct reports. Like, this is the first time I haven't had direct reports in 6-7 years.
Sure.
Is the X's and O's of it. Now, my beer league ice hockey team gives me that itch a little bit. Because me and my brother is a crazy good leader as well. And he's really good with X's and O's. And I'm really good with X's and O's. Like, he's the offensive coordinator and I'm the defensive coordinator on our beer league ice hockey team. And we have like a hell of a team right now. And so like for us, like I think putting people and knowing where people's strengths are, because I did that in my last company, like, okay, so-and-so's not really good at cold calling clients like Ben. Like, that we don't need to put them there, but they're really good at taking care of Ben. Once I bring Ben into the organization. And so really putting those pieces in, and both from a technical side, like you said, and obviously like a non-technical side, like a staffing side, can make a world of a difference.
And from a skill set standpoint, here's the encouragement I'd give you, is that if anybody listening, it's like, you may not be naturally gifted at certain things. It's totally fine. Like, I'm not everybody wants to get on live, whatever, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever we're on. Let's do it on Tuesday morning. Totally fine. Doesn't mean that I'm a better leader or a worse leader because I want to. The skills that you need to do, you've got to cultivate, grow, practice, seek guidance, figure out what those are. And then it's like anything else. You're not good at Rust the first time you do it, but after 6 months, you're better at it, right? After 12 months, you're 25 years later, you're on a talk show hanging out with Taylor talking about stuff, right? Like, I mean, it is like, but it's a skill, but if you know why you want to get there, if you have a passion for helping people be their best, leadership's a good path for you. Yeah. Right. Because that's generally what it's about. But if you have a passion for, writing the most performant, tiny, piece of software that never bugs and never goes down, it's been really tough to also lead people because when you're leading, it's tough to be in those weeds. And so there's a balance. It's kind of like that age old thing. You can't be everything. You've kind of got to figure out who you want to be and where you want to go.
Well, and that's and I've been kind of on that search too. Angie comes in, excellent conversation, guys. It really
I know her too. Man, I've got lots of folks from the home office. Yeah, I got 4 people on today.
You're popular. Awesome. This is good stuff. I like it. Any last thoughts before I hit you with my last 4 rapid fire questions?
I would, anybody that, I just, first off, to me, it's invest in yourself. Like, I know you say that a lot, like even when times are lean, when times are good, it's almost like the market principle of buy stock or buy market every month, regardless of whether it's up or down, right? You invest in yourself constantly. You'll never be sad at the investment you made in yourself. It will pay off dividends. And second of all, if you want to be a leader, if you aspire to do that based upon who you think you are and want to get to, find a mentor. I mean, I find somebody that can help you find a sounding board. I've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 people in like concentric rings that I can, throw and I know who, again, know your people. I know who I can throw like harebrained ideas, and then I know who I can throw like really well vetted ideas, and it matters. No, those are my tips, and just keep at it.
What's your biggest piece of advice for job seekers right now? I do want to do a little tactical real quick as somebody who's in a CTO role. Yeah.
Networking and content. And so again, back to attitude and aptitude. And I'm not asking anybody to break their neck. I don't need to see 90 hours of commitment. Like, I'm a big believer in sustainable pace, 40, 45 hours. Like, if we can't get the work done in 44 hours, we've got too much work. So content and attitude and aptitude. If I can see that you're engaged in what you're doing and you're passionate about what you're doing and you're getting better in public, like the gentleman that I told you about at the very beginning, it was obvious to me that he wanted to be a developer and was going to be a good developer. That makes the hiring process easy. It's not foolproof. You're gonna bat like a Major League Baseball player. You're gonna hit 250 on a good year, and it's difficult. But content, networking, get out in front of people, and just keep getting better in public.
And you've doubled down on content too. Okay, can you give like a quick testimonial story about what it's done for you so far?
Yeah, so 18 months ago, or maybe not even that, like 14, 15 months ago, I had this epiphany that I wanted to give back and I wanted to get congruent with my values, which I didn't even know what my values were at the point in time, but I wanted to get congruent with them. I write an article a week. I'll probably go to twice a month this year. I dropped 100,000 words last year. I'd never been on anything video related. I've got, 100,000 views on my content across platforms, which is not a ton to some. It's a ton to me when I had 100 viewers my very first month.
Right.
I've given talks. I've been on podcasts. I've had opportunities to join the AWS Community Builders Program. I've got friends now across the entire globe that I met at reInvent. I'm a part of this other community called Believe in Serverless that I got joined up on. Like, it's changed my perspective on it. So if you have any interest, like video, writing, just open source, helping with questions on Stack Overflow, AWS Repost, just get out and do it. It'll help your career. It'll also help you as a human if you really want to be, out there and connected.
Absolutely.
So it's been tremendous. I go for it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up.
No, I'd say it's been tremendous. I know you preach it all the time, but it's opened up the next. I'm considering. I just started the back 9 of my career. I just got a soda and a hot dog. I'm getting on the back 9, and so it's opened up these next 9 holes for me, and so I'm excited about them.
That's awesome, man. All right, first thing, if money was the same, what would you do outside of tech for your job? I already know the answer to this. I feel like.
So I'd be a professional golfer, but if I couldn't go back to doing that, honestly, like my lifestyle, if I had my kids and my life wasn't different, just the money, I'd go be a PGA pro and help people get better at golf. I would teach.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'd love to
that's
teach.
Awesome.
If I didn't have kids in a life, I'd go on tour.
Who's that PGA pro that like qualified and killed it recently?
Oh, Mike Block. Yeah, Michael Block. So
that's
my kids have lessons, not today because it's like 10 degrees, but every Tuesday with a coach down the road, and he has the best time with them every week. That's awesome. And if money wasn't an issue, to be able to kind of teach people about golf, watch them get better, no, that'd be where it's at.
I love that. This kind of goes hand in hand, but what do you do outside of work that brings you joy?
So my why is my family. My family's engagement of choice is golf. All four of us play golf. I have a golf cart. It's part of the lifestyle. I don't invest in cars. Like my two cars are collectively 27 years old.
I love that.
But I have a
golf cart though.
Yeah, it's nice. And the four of us go play. And no, it's my family.
That's cool.
100%.
What is what's your favorite Texas barbecue place you've eaten at?
The one that comes off my green egg.
Really?
I like my own stuff. Like, so here's why.
How far is Austin from where you live?
About 3 hours.
Oh,
I guess it is.
That'd be awesome. I could stop by and say, hey.
I'm not like, so here's kind of the problem. Everybody from Texas, close your ears. I like my Tennessee barbecue, man. I like my pork, and I like Martin's. Pat Martin's stuff is delicious.
Well, you know that too. We're sponsored by, right?
Are you really? Redneck Tacos are where it's at.
Those are good.
I love the redneck, but no, so Cadillac and Addison has got some pretty good brisket. Pecan Lodge down in Deep Ellum has got some good stuff. Hard 8 is fine. I mean, but again, like I like pork.
I love it. I do too. It's because brisket's mainly Texas, right?
Yeah, I think maybe Kansas City too. I'll tell you a real quick story before we leave. So I had a friend when I was in Nashville. We went to a Texas barbecue joint. It was down in Franklin. I don't know if it's still there. I forget the name of it. But he ordered the barbecue plate, and they brought him out beef rib, beef sausage, and brisket. And they brought it and put it in front of him. And he said, here's your barbecue plate. And he looks at him. He says, I ordered barbecue. And the guy's like, this is barbecue. And he says, no, I ordered barbecue, like pork and pulled pork. He says, no, this is Texas barbecue. We don't serve pulled pork here. And I did not know that. Yeah, he's totally embarrassed, but it was like 15 years ago.
I always have to go to not Franklin's, Terry Black's when I'm in Austin. I always have to go to Terry Black's. And then when I spoke in Kansas City at KCDC, I went to Slaps Barbecue, and that was
I heard that's good.
That was unreal.
Funny story. I lived in Nolensville for years when I was in Nashville, and one Tuesday night we went to go eat at Martin's, which is back the original Martin's right there on Nolensville Pike.
Nolensville, yeah. We actually played. So our hockey tournament. So our jersey and team picture are hung up in that Martin's, by the way.
Oh, that's cool. So they're back at the original. I was there recently. They're back at the original, or like a year ago. Anyway, so we went and couldn't get in. Triple D was sitting there filming diners, drive-ins, and dives, whatever. Yeah, it was like back in the early days, and was kind of ticked because I really wanted barbecue, but then I was happy because he was getting his props for doing an amazing job.
That's awesome. Last question.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, last question. What's your biggest piece of career advice to young Ben?
Young Ben. Biggest piece is find out who you are first, because it'll impact the way that you engage with others. I'm quick. I can sometimes be quick to rush in things. It's kind of double same thing. But that's not ultimately who I am. It's just kind of what my default is. And I think know who you are, because it'll change the relationships you have, and changing the relationships will change your course. More than notice I didn't say learn a skill. I learned as many skills as I want. I don't regret any of that, but know who you are. That's the one piece that only you can figure out.
Yeah. I love that. Cool. All right, y'all. Well, Ben, your phone's about to go kaputs on you from a connection perspective. So y'all have a good one. We appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm catching up with Tim Cheadle. He's a VP of engineering at a company called Bindle. So excited to catch up with him tomorrow. Y'all have a great one. Ben, thank you, my friend. Stay on afterwards. I can say bye to you. Peace.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.